Hi, this is Roy Worley. Welcome to the interview show that brings on guests from all walks of life. Yeah, it's here that they tell their stories and delve a little deeper into their lives to see what got them where they are. So grab a drink, have a seat, and relax, because this is the Leo Effect.
When was the last time a short movie shook your emotions to the core? When was the last time a short movie caused you to rethink everything you stood for? When was the last time a short movie made you proud to be an American? When was the last time you felt the emotion to stand up and cheer after a short movie? The new short movie, I've Got Your Six, written and directed by Bill Foster, one of the industry's newest and fastest climbing directors, will answer all of those questions. Rarely has there been so much packed into a short movie that when you leave, you'll feel more proud of our American military veterans. A movie that was cast only with American military veterans will have you on the edge of your seat, cheering for our veterans and what makes America great. I've Got Your Six will be hitting the film festival scene soon. Be prepared to drop what you're doing and go see this powerful movie when it comes to your area. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Leo Effects. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. He's somebody that's been voicing animes that I've been getting into lately, and I'm very excited to have him here. Please allow me to introduce Mr. Kyle Phillips. How are you today, sir?
Good. How are you, Ray? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and I'm doing all right. Now, hopefully, we don't hit any more technological hiccups, but so can you let the audience know what you feel might be your most notable role, or whatever role you feel you really enjoyed that you kind of say, hey, this is what I am?
I'd say that would definitely have to be my boy Denki Kaminari in My Hero Academia. When I first started on that, I was just grateful for the role, and then I had no idea blow up to what it has become now. So it's been a real treat to work on it. And but maybe I just started a new show called Infinite Dendrogram. I play the lead, Ray Starling. So if you like what I'm doing with Denki Kaminari, maybe check that out, and maybe you'll like that too.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And is that a pretty similar role or completely different characters?
Well, Denki is kind of this goofball, like sometimes cool, sometimes pervy, sometimes he has his more confident, badass moments. Ray is, he's a new participant in this game. It takes place in a video game, and so he's on the lower end of the totem pole, but he's a more determined, serious type character. But he also has his very goofy moments. At one point, he has a health potion thrown at his face by one of his teammates, and it's a very comical moment.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So, and you were, if I was reading that correctly, you were also in Black Clover.
Hammond in Black Clover. The role, I guess it's technically a goofy role. It's definitely a goofy voice for me. He's this aristocratic, like, fancy boy. And he is laughing all the time. He's all about food and
yeah. Maybe dessert will have to wait.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually a role, it was fun to play, and I thought it was just kind of like a one-off, like just in that story arc, but he's come back multiple times, so that's been really fun too.
Yeah, that's been really fun to watch. And then, honestly, I didn't know until I was really kind of digging around doing some research that you did that role. And from when we first started talking, and obviously character voice and all of that, but from when we started talking, I was like, is this really the same guy? So that's really cool. What made you decide to be a voice actor in the first place?
Well, I have a different past than I feel like most voice actors. I wanted to get into music production, like producing and stuff like that. So I actually went down the path of professional audio. And I joined up with Funimation in 2008. I joined the team as an ADR engineer. ADR is automated dialogue replacement, so we just, in charge of recording all the voice actors and cleaning up the audio and placing it and editing it and all that. But immediately I was drawn to voice acting just because, I saw it, 8 hours a day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was working with Monica Rial. She was my director for a show called Triple X Holic. And we were in the last episode, and she needed the character name, quote unquote, is Big Spirit. And I was like, hey, I'd like to jump in and do that. And she was like, sure. And so I just hopped in and went, and it was a lot of fun. And that was cool that she let me do that. And after that, I just kind of just little stuff like that, can I hop in and do this little thing? And I kind of went more full force with it when I was working with Tyler Walker. And he gave me my first named role, Jason the reporter in Fairy Tale. And then kind of after that, Jason, for those who know, Jason the reporter, he is very, very high energy. And so that, being able to produce that high energy is definitely a requisite in anime voice acting. And so that kind of put me on notice and allowed me to fully explore voice acting. And I've been doing it ever since.
Nice. The ADR thing is what got you in the position to be a voice. Why did you choose to do ADR?
Just when, I've always been into music, and, so when I went down the path of professional audio, I was just kind of looking for anything related to that field. So I did some minor on-set film audio and, some live audio, all behind the scenes type stuff. And I was interning at a studio in downtown Dallas called Dallas Audio Post. Great studio, great group of guys there. And I was recording Chris Sabat. For those who don't know, who've been living under a rock, he's the voice of Piccolo and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z. I was recording him for like a Doritos commercial or something, because they mostly do commercial and industrial VO at that studio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey man, I recognize your voice. And he was like, oh, Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, oh, that's great. And he said, man, it was great working with you. Actually at Funimation, they're in town and they're looking for an ADR engineer. And I was like, oh, great, I'll apply there. And the rest is history.
Nice. And Chris Sabat is a very difficult man to get in touch with, I tell you what. But
he is one of the busiest people I've ever met.
But, I was going to wait until later in the show, but kind of speaking about being busy and things like that, you're actually getting ready to take part in a convention, right?
That's right. I am in Cleveland, Ohio, about to do Wizard World Cleveland with Aaron Roberts is joining me on this Cleveland adventure.
Awesome. And so that's like a whole weekend kind of thing?
Yep. So the con starts today, Friday, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then it's basically then just all day Saturday and most of the day Sunday. And it's just talking to fans, signing autographs, doing panels, just kind of fan engagement and talking about my hero and anything else I'm a part of. I'm a director at Funimation now. I've moved on from the ADR position. So, talking about Fire Force, direct Fire Force.
Yeah.
Direct the final season of Fairy Tale, stuff like that. So fans like to talk about those shows as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I've actually recently done a couple interviews with some other Fire Force folks, and,
Oh, awesome.
That's been a lot of fun. I haven't actually started watching that one yet. What would you say would be a reason to start binge watching Fire Force?
It's just really awesome, it's all fire. It's like dude with fire powers versus dude with fire powers. So it's just really just kind of in your face. It's beautiful. The fire effects are fantastic, and I feel like I've put together a awesome cast. Derek Snow is the lead character. Eric Vale, he's the voice of Trunks in Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
He's Arthur in Fire Force, and I've got Christopher Wakehamp in there, Jeremy Inman, Aaron Roberts actually is in Fire Force. Newcomer Sarah Roach. That was her first big role. Was Maki Oze, Jade Saxton, Alexis Tipton. So got a lot of great people in there, and the show itself. If you like fairy tale, My Hero, the Naruto, those shonen like hero trying to become the best he can be type shows, you're gonna love Fire Force. It's right up your alley. It just has a cool rock and roll twist to it.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to check that one out then.
And actually, season 2. So we just wrapped season 1 in the winter, 24 eps. Season 2 is coming back in July of 2020 this year.
Nice. Well, keep that on the horizon. Keep my eyes open for that one.
Awesome.
Going back to the convention, have you done conventions before?
Yes, I've done a few. This 2020 is definitely going to be my busiest of the year. I know a lot of people, try to do like a convention every weekend, and I've got a full-time gig. I've got 2 daughters and a wife at home, and so I try to limit it to one a month. But 2019, I did about I'm going to say like 6 or so.
Wow.
If everything falls into place, I'll be doing 12 this year. Cleveland here. This is my first Fan Expo Dallas at the end of the month. El Paso Comic-Con in April.
With all the conventions that you've been to, have you ever had people come up to you dressed as your characters?
Oh, most definitely. Denki Kaminari seems to be growing in popularity, and the Denki cosplayers are awesome. Shout out to Daddy Denki. She showed up cosplayed as Denki, but there was an alternate art Denki. It was for Halloween, and he has like a black suit with like a red shirt and like devil wings, and she came dressed as that, and that was awesome. It looked so good. So that was a lot of fun. I see a lot of Denki in like school uniform, Denki in his Charge Bolt hero costume. So all that has just been fantastic.
That sounds amazing. I don't know what I would do if a fan ever came up like dressed as a character. That's gonna be weird.
It's a lot of fun. They put a lot of work into it, and it looks great, and it's really flattering and just a lot of fun. Like it's great.
Well, between being a voice actor and a director, you still do acting yourself, obviously. So, obviously the two worlds are completely different. But do you have a preference to which one you like to do?
Man, I get asked this a lot, and I don't feel like I've come up with a satisfactory answer because, the truth is they are very different, I feel like I'm a bit of a control freak, and so the directing side of things really appeals to that. I cast everything, I research, I prep. I'm in charge of the final product. Basically, I do the mix. Like it's all like if you like a dub, you can really put a lot of kudos to the director for that. But then acting, I basically get to turn that part of my brain off and just have fun and just fully dive into a character and bring a character to life. So yeah, honestly, like sometimes I like one more than the other, and sometimes the opposite. So there's really isn't a preference for me as far as doing one or the other.
Well, as a control freak director, are you the type that sits there and says, "No, do it again. I didn't like that inflection. No, do that again. I didn't like that."
No, definitely not. I'm not even close to a Stanley Kubrick-esque director. I like to take the approach of, I generally like to work on comedies more than anything. And so I like to take the approach of just putting my actors in a sandbox and just letting them have fun. I just want to make sure I keep them in the sandbox.
Gotcha.
So I like to make it a very collaborative effort, and like I'll take suggestions and have fun, because that's when I think when you can really get those bonus extra funny moments or really cool extra moments where the actors just kind of let loose. And so I like to take that approach when I can.
Okay. And have you ever had an instance where it was like trying to wrangle cats?
Sometimes, yes. Some actors, it's like they'll go a little too far, and it's like, and that's the job as the director. I've got the whole show in my head. Because when you come in as an actor, you don't get the scripts ahead of time. You don't. You may have like read the source material yourself, but like generally, you don't really know a whole lot about the character, the show, especially like the scene or episode you're about to do. So you rely on the director a lot for all that context. So sometimes, when an actor gets extra comfortable or they feel like they really, are into the character, they'll kind of take things to maybe too far of a level. And so it's just the job of the director, like, a little too far, rein it in. But it's never detrimental to the process. Sometimes it's good to kind of get too far with a character choice, and so kind of where that line is, and so where you need to go.
Mm-hmm. And you've played a multitude of characters with all varying voices and things like that. How do you come up with the character voice?
When you first start, it's just kind of you just kind of come up with it with the director. Like with Denki, when we first did the derpy voice, when he uses his quirk, that was me and Colleen Klinkenbeard, the director, just going back and forth like, well, what about this? Something kind of like high-pitched giggling. She's like, no, let's try it like this. And just kind of going back and forth, kind of figuring it out. And when the director is satisfied, then the ADR engineer will create a reference file so that, the next time you come in, they'll just play that, this is where we were last time, or this is where we landed on with the voice, either in general or specific parts of the voice, like with Denki's derpier moments when he has to make those specific noises. So that definitely helps. So yeah, it's just kind of that back and forth process of finding, kind of what you want to do.
I gotcha. And is there a particular tone or style that comes easier to you or more naturally?
Kaminari is actually pretty close to just my natural voice. He just kind of has kind of a higher energy, and that kind of pushes the voice a little higher. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty easy for me. I'm Marco the Phoenix in One Piece, and that's actually some of my lower stuff. And so kind of keeping it at that low kind of rumbly place for a long period of time can tend to, or doing attack noises and stuff in that lower rumbly place can get a bit taxing. But no, overall, I haven't really done anything that was too vocally stressful or anything like that. And,
okay.
Or kind of keeping it in a specific place hasn't been too challenging as of yet. But sometimes, I play this character, Hyro, in The Disastrous Life of Psyche K, and he basically just kind of yells all the time. And so on the longer sessions with him, that would get a little strenuous on the voice, but kind of par for the course. Every actor has that character where it's a little vocally stressful.
Mm-hmm. And so what's it like to play a monkey?
Was that Dr. Stone?
Yeah.
That was cool. I actually took a tip from Sabbath on that one because he was talking about playing, Bubbles the monkey in Dragon Ball Z, and he said it's just all in the abs, just and he said it's a good ab workout, and he said that kind of gets you to that frantic monkey place, and so I just kind of copied his approach there.
That's cool. I was like, I gotta ask about this monkey.
I forgot about that.
Have you ever done any video games, or have you considered doing video games?
Just broke into that. A game I did was just released, the newest Dragon Ball Z game. I believe it's Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Yeah.
I'm the announcer or the sideline reporter or announcer for the Cell games. So that was a lot of fun. It's a different process in that you have to, like in anime, you have to match mouth flaps. That's when the character's on screen talking, the mouth moves. You have some leeway there, or kind of everyone sees flaps a little differently. You can cheat some stuff here or there. But with video games, you have to meet a certain time. Like, the Japanese will say, hey, look over there, but in Japanese, of course. And so it'll take them 1.75 seconds. And so we translate it and adapt it, and we have that same amount of time to get whatever we want to say across. There is a slight bit of leeway, but that's kind of a different kind of more more frantic, I guess is the right word, kind of style of voice acting, because there's that extra layer of like, got to meet this specific time, but you don't have anything to look at. There's no mouth flaps or anything, so it's just kind of like you just kind of have to feel it and just kind of go with the flow. But yeah, so I did that recently. That just came out, and then I've done 2 other games since, but still under NDA.
Right.
Them should be released kind of soon, I think, and the other, I have no idea.
That's fair. And is it strange to you to hear your voice coming out of these characters when you see them on TV or on a video game?
No, I don't think so. I know a lot of people don't like to hear their own voice, but it doesn't like bother me. It's pretty cool. It's when like your friends way back like playing a video game, and they're like, "Is this you in this Dragon Ball Z game?" And it's like, "Yeah." So that's kind of fun.
Nice. So I gotta ask, what advice would you have for somebody that's just breaking out into this career?
Don't a lot of people and it might be hypocritical since I've really only focused on voice acting, but if you're just looking at voice acting in general and you're not already in the industry, make voice acting a slice of your overall acting pie. Very rarely does anyone make a living off of just voice acting. I'm staff employee director at Funimation, and I also voice act, so like even, Colleen Klinkenbeard, big prolific voice actor. She also is she's a producer at Funimation, so it's hard to just make a living off of it. And also the other side of that is it helps you become a better actor. If you're doing theater, if you're doing improv, if you're doing all these other forms of acting, not just voice acting, it'll make you a better voice actor. So if you want to go all in, want to be a voice actor, be an actor who does voice acting as well.
Okay. So that's good advice. I like that.
Thank you.
And, the big takeaway, I guess, as well would be just never stop learning, right?
That's right, because, your job as an actor is not acting. Your job as an actor is auditioning. You're going to be auditioning a lot and not booking most of your auditions. So perfecting your craft and just doing and consuming as much as you can and doing all that, that's just the way to go.
Absolutely. I love it. That's great. Well, with this last little bit of time we have, would you like to tell people what your social medias are so that they can click and follow and like and sub and all that good stuff?
Oh, yeah. So I'm mostly active on Twitter. If you want to follow me at Kyle Phillips Fun, 2 L's in Phillips. And that Kyle Phillips Fun, I'm on most social media platforms, and that's kind of my across the board username. If you want to send me a friend request on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, anything like that. I actually just downloaded TikTok for the first time. I don't know quite what I'm going to do with it yet, but I thought, why not? But if I don't accept a friend request on Facebook for a while, fret not. I don't use it that much. I kind of just cross-post everything to Facebook. And Instagram it's more like a personal account. So if you just want to see pictures of me hanging out with my daughters and my wife, that's my Instagram.
Nice. Hey, it's good to have your family, to have family time too.
That's right.
So, and to the point of TikTok, what you were saying, I've recently downloaded it and started watching some of the videos, and I can say that some of the people that post stuff on there, they don't know what to do with it either. So I don't think you have an issue.
Good. I'm glad I'm in good company then.
But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. You've been a riot, and you've got some really great advice and stories. I've really appreciated you speaking to me.
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. This is a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm especially thankful that you came on right before you're heading to a big convention. Like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope everybody goes and checks it out. And hopefully I can put this out before you even go to that, maybe draw some more attention.
Oh, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So thank you again for coming on. I genuinely, sincerely am thankful that you came.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah. And, with the point of the conventions that's about the fans. That's fan service. That's, being there for the people that support you. And that's the same thing with this show. Thank you to all the fans who, support me on Facebook. They follow on Twitter. I appreciate all of you, every single last one of you, for clicking the play button. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, creatures of all ages, what an amazing show. Thank you for lending an ear and joining us. I'm the host, Ray Rumsey, and if you want to hear more interviews, simply head to anywhere podcasts are heard, Facebook or Twitter, and search The Leo Effects, with an A, not an E. If you'd like to hear me doing silly voices and making a general fool of myself, head over to Shattered Dungeons on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We live stream every Tuesday night. More projects are in the works. For now, stay tuned for more interviews. To book yourself as a guest, you can head to theleoeffects.wixsite.com/podcast or send me an email at theleoeffects@gmail.com. Remember, this has been The Leo Effects, and great shows require great listeners, just like you. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.